Good morning. Thank you for dropping by again. In this video, I'm going to be giving an idea of what my plans are for 2026. I've written myself a script again, so I shall be regularly looking away to check my notes. Firstly, I just want to talk about my YouTube channel in general, following recent comments I've received. Now, I don't know how most viewers first discover my YouTube channel, but I get the odd comment from time to time, which leaves me a bit puzzled and amused at the same time. I'm guessing this is because these particular viewers perhaps don't watch the whole video, or they might miss bits I've said, or they don't read the video description. For example, I always put the date of filming near the top of each video's description. And when I'm out there talking to the camera, I now always say the date near the start of each film. So I find it amusing when I've made a video in March, which is then published on my channel in, say, June, and a viewer leaves a comment saying, "Whilst you're in this area, check out such and such a place." Or they might say, "Enjoy the rest of your time whilst you're here. Maybe I'll bump into you." So when I read comments like that, these viewers clearly think I'm still there, even though I made the video months before it was published. Or perhaps it was months or even years before these particular viewers just happened to come across my video. A few more comments about my YouTube channel then, which also comes from recent comments I've received. When I get new subscribers, many of them say, "I've just subscribed to your channel, I enjoy your content, and I'm looking forward to your future films." That's lovely. But I've often found that when people subscribe, they often only seem to watch what I publish after they've subscribed, and they don't look back to check out what I've previously published. I had a new subscriber a few years back who came across my channel after I had just published my last Peak District film at that time. They said they were looking forward to more Peak District films I might make. So when I read that comment, it seemed to me that they hadn't realised I had already made nearly 80 films in the Peak District up to that time, which were all there on my channel available to watch. Sometimes I've been asked, for instance, "Have you made any films in Dartmoor?" So I reply and say, "Yes, I made some back in 2017. They then come back to me and say, "Well, I wasn't watching your channel back then." So reading a comment like that, I get the impression they don't seem to realise that although those films were indeed made back in 2017, they are still available to watch on my channel. So I think there is often some misunderstanding here, and I apologise for that, but I'll try and clear things up now. As of now, I have made nearly 300 films, so I have a huge back catalogue on my YouTube channel. And when I get new subscribers, some of them either don't appear to be aware of that, or they just don't take the time to look. So I do feel that many people miss a lot of the content that is already available on my channel. This is the very reason why, over the past 6 weeks, I've been posting links to some of my older videos, because I'm sure many viewers will never have checked them out. It's also the reason why, a little while ago, I made a video called "How to Use My YouTube Channel." In that video, I included an explanation of where you can find every single film I've made by county or region, if you look under the section on my channel that says Films by Region. In that section are playlists sorted alphabetically, featuring all the counties and regions in which I've made films. Anyway, I'll leave a link to that video in the description below, so if you are interested in looking at my back catalogue and checking out any other information out on my channel, I do strongly recommend checking out that video. Okay, before I move on to my plans for 2026, I just want to explain in a bit more detail as to how I plan my filming. On my computer, I keep an Excel file in which I've created lists of all the walks I want to film. Now, I should make it absolutely clear that I literally have hundreds of walks listed in my file. This is the reason why I've said that I no longer accept suggestions from people for future walks. Anyway, even if I live to be 100 years old, there is no way on earth that I'm ever going to film all these walks, but I just love spending my time planning them all. So in my Excel file then, I have a separate worksheet for each county or region. So I've got one worksheet listing all the walks I still want to film in the Peak District. I've another worksheet for walks in the Lake District, another for the Yorkshire Dales, and so on and so on. I then plot all the routes of the walks in the OS Maps app. What I also do now is find the start of each route on Google Maps and try to find the most suitable place where I can park my car. So sometimes I may have to adapt the route to accommodate where I can park. I then add links to these parking places on Google Maps to each of the respective walks on my lists in the Excel file. If any of the walks involve travelling further away from home, I spend a lot of my time looking online, searching for accommodation in the area. If I end up booking accommodation, I'll also add that information to the walks on the lists in my Excel file. So, if and when I do go out to film in any of these places, all the information is there in one place already for me. And this is the information I now share in the descriptions below each respective video. As I've said before, I enjoy the whole planning process as much as I enjoy getting out there filming and working on all the post-production afterwards. My plans for 2026 then. I've got all my different lists ready of where I want to film, but as normal, I'm not going to give anything away about where I'm hoping to film. These plans are all subject to change anyway, depending on weather and any other circumstances that may crop up during the course of the year. I know there will be a few things happening in my personal life later this year, which may have an effect on my plans. For instance, and I can't go into details, but I'm a bit concerned with what's currently going on at work, mainly because I don't know what's going to happen and what effect it may have on me. So, depending on how that all turns out, if necessary, some of my filming may need to be put on hold. Anyway, as with previous years, I've already looked at what weeks I'd like to take off work as annual leave. So for this year, I want to film more walks closer to home, as well as some further away when I go to see Mum again. I know I will be travelling down to North Somerset a few times again this year, so like 2025, I can hopefully go out some of those days to film walks that are within an easy driving distance from where Mum lives. I have managed to do some filming already this year, most of which was done when I spent 3 nights in a Premier Inn when I was off at the start of this month. And I'm going back to stay in the same Premier Inn for another 3 nights when I'm off at the end of May. Now you might be thinking, why didn't I book just 6 consecutive nights in this Premier Inn when I was off earlier this month, as that would save me having to go back there again in May? Well, I find that, going by past experience, if I did stay away for 6 consecutive nights, I put more pressure on myself. I tend to tell myself, right, I'm staying in this area for 6 nights, I'd better get 6 or 7 walks filmed whilst I'm here. So that's why I booked just 3 consecutive nights in each of those 2 months, as I was able to film a few walks when I was off at the start of this month, and I hope to film a few more walks when I'm back there again in May. So that just takes some of the pressure off that I do put on myself. This particular Premier Inn is only about a 50-mile drive away anyway, so it's not a huge distance for me. Not like driving all the way to somewhere like Cornwall and back. Another reason why I didn't book 6 consecutive nights away is because I found I don't like spending too many days away from home. I'm very much a homebody. I like spending time at home. So again, that's why this year I booked to stay in that Premier Inn for a maximum of 3 consecutive nights in each of those 2 months. So after I had spent my 3rd night in that Premier Inn earlier this month, and having filmed 4 walks, I felt that I'd had enough by then and just wanted to go home. Once I got back, I was able to enjoy some time at home during the other days I was off that week. So when I'm off again at the end of May, I'll be able to do exactly the same again. I had originally planned to travel to a different location at the end of May, not Cornwall, but this location was still a minimum of 250 miles away. So I felt that I would have needed to have stayed there for at least 5 nights to justify travelling the longer distance, and I just didn't want to spend all that length of time away from home. Also, going back to what I said earlier, I would have put more pressure on myself to get 5 or 6 days worth of filming done whilst I was there, and I decided I really didn't want to do all that. So that's why I ended up scrapping that idea in favour of travelling somewhere closer to home and for shorter periods. Let me just look back at 2024 the year I returned to the Wye Valley and Forest of Dean. I ended up travelling down there about 6 or 7 different times throughout the year, and if you include the days I spent at Mum's, for each time I had stayed away from home for over a week. Now, although I was very excited to be making more films in the Wye Valley and Forest of Dean, by the 6th or 7th time I was starting to get a bit tired of it. Now don't get me wrong, I had no regrets whatsoever about going down there, and I still enjoyed every single minute of making the films in the area, but by the 6th or 7th time I just felt I'd had enough of all the travelling and staying away from home. That's why this year my plans should involve me staying away for no more than 4 different times, which includes the 2 stays at the aforementioned Premier Inn, and the other 2 times will be when I travel down to Mum's. That may all change. I may decide later in the year that I want to go and stay somewhere else. It all depends on how I feel, but that's how things stand at the moment. But many of the more local walks I plan to film this year won't involve me staying away at all, because I can set out from home in the morning, and once I've completed filming each of those walks, I'll be back home later again the same day. So I hope you can join me on my travels for 2026. The first film of the year will be published next Friday, and subsequent films will hopefully be published each Friday after that. However, as I speak, I've not had time to edit all the films I've shot so far, so they'll just be published as and when. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching, all the best, and tatty bye for now.